Welcome everyone to the webinar 2 of our webinar series. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to all of you. Professor Anirban Datta from University of Buffalo and myself, Professor Uttama Lairi from Indian Institute of Technology, Gandhinagar, are jointly organizing a webinar series on translational research in neuroengineering and neurorehabilitation. In this, we will be focusing on emerging applications of neuroengineering while covering topics in engineering perspectives to neuromodulation, cost-effective technologies used in neurorehabilitation, and the clinician's perspective to neuroengineering. So this is the webinar 2. So the webinar 1 that was held yesterday, the talk was given by Dr. Suprant De, and the talk was on non-invasive brain imaging for bimanual surgical assessment. Today, I will introduce to today's the speaker for today, and it's a very exciting talk. The speaker for today is Mr. Keith Jackson. He would be speaking on measuring eye movement data for baseline assessments and monitoring progression of brain health. Let me introduce Keith to the participants. Keith Jackson brings 16 years of experience working with partners to bring eye tracking to the world of medical and research applications. Keith is a graduate from Arizona State University with a master's in business administration. Dear Keith, it was so nice to have you today, and the floor is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the invite and look forward to learning more about the research being done there in India. We do have a few partners there that we're working with, and there's some exciting work that we can do together, and appreciate the invite from Dr. Anirban at the University of Buffalo, who we met early this year or late last year on some dementia studies with eye tracking. So looking forward on the three-way collaboration together. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And I have a presentation to guide you through, and then we'll have a Q&A afterwards. Okay, so EyeTech Digital Systems, we are based in Phoenix, Arizona. We've been doing eye tracking for over 2 decades, and utilizing eye tracking to augment health is really our focus. We are a B2B and B2C company. We have well over 10,000 eye trackers in use around the world in 35 countries. Our team is growing, but we do both the hardware and the software. And we've been in business since 1996. We have a direct sales force in the US, as well as independent distributors and resellers around the world. Just a little bit about the technology before diving into the medical and research aspects on how we're utilizing eye tracking to monitor brain activity, or the eyes are the window to the brain, so we can monitor brain health. As well as there's several apps that are exciting for helping with the therapy side as well. So this is our first eye tracking on a chip technology, which we launched about 6 years ago. We use a FPGA Zinc chip, which gives you fixed hardware timestamp data. We can support multiple operating systems. Researchers and medical institutions love this capability because we can, the data stream is very consistent. The data is always the same regardless of whatever computer you're attached to. We've then packaged this into a camera module, which we call the VT3 Mini, which magnetically connects to any screen using easy magnet capability on the back. Single USB connection, it can track up to 200 hertz. And we've been selling that for years, and it's a great modular eye tracking system. We've now launched this year the EyeOn. It's a sleek lightweight and very fast, up to 500 frames per second eye tracking tablet platform. And we have taken it through, and it's FDA registered here in the US and PDAC coded. Has a new 8 megapixel sensor, has a huge head box size forward and back, side to side. I'll show you a live demo here in a second. And it is a 14-inch Windows 10 professional tablet with our technology built in. It is a patented design, has a nice kickstand and VESA mount integrated. Just to kind of give you an idea of the hardware that powers this that we make. It's a nice thin profile, like you see here, only 18 millimeters thick, and really excited. The VESA mounting on the back allows you to mount it to an ergotron arm, so you can easily position it in your clinic or in your lab. As a company, we pride ourselves on leveraging highly accurate eye tracking for your medical research, and we track 5 key tolerance in glasses. And just to show you a live demo of this, let me go ahead and pause this, and we'll go into what's called Quick Test. And this is a benchmarking tool we've developed, we use internally, so we can measure across hundreds of subjects whenever we come out with a new camera firmware to make sure we're improving in those 5 key areas. So you can see we use a dark pupil technique that tracks in a very large range, forward and back. I can be all the way back. You can see the distance indicator here at 80 centimeters. It's tracking my eyes, and then all the way to 40 centimeters. So I can then do what we call a user-driven calibration, which is unique to EyeTech. Most other eye trackers use a moving target, which can sometimes be problematic, especially for younger children. The user-driven is more like a game and allows you to just display all the targets at once, and then they just look at them until they disappear, and we see up to a 30% improvement in data quality. You can see the accuracy for the right eye and left eye is displayed here in the black and white, so these look very consistent. For individuals with different visual impairments, strabismus, amblyopia, you'll see a clear indication of perhaps one of the eyes, the lazy eye, less accurate in a different region. So that's a real good baseline indicator just from the basic calibration process. So then we can run subjects through different tests. The box test is one that I like to show. It shows a live gaze dot as the green dot. And so I'm looking at the white dot in the gray box, and it continues to get smaller and smaller to show the level of accuracy and precision we can get with eye tracking, to the tune of, less than half a degree of accuracy. And so we run hundreds of subjects through this test and other tests to benchmark the accuracy and precision is highly accurate. Precision meaning how, as I stare at that target, how steady was that gaze position. Being able to track head movement really well. So if I show the live gaze, let me pull up. So my live gaze, I'm looking down here at the icon at the bottom, the Windows 10 icon. So you can see it's very accurate. And if I even move my head, you can see the accuracy is still very, very accurate and very consistent. I'm looking in the middle of the screen, top left, top right. So it's a very reliable data stream that we provide in a variety of applications, from high-end research for research institutions to build their own studies and create their own stimuli, as well as medical applications that we've integrated with our API as well. So that gives you a little bit of understanding of how we do what we do, and happy to answer any other questions you have after my presentation. So those are the metrics that we track on a regular basis to make sure we're improving as well as benchmark against our competitors. So EyeTech is powering medical applications in a variety of areas. I wanted to show 5 use cases and then open it up for Q&A. We started actually over 24 years ago because our CTO and founder, Robert Chappell, injured his arms from typing too much. And our biggest market is actually helping paralyzed individuals, ALS, motor neuron disease, cerebral palsy, spinal muscular atrophy, quadriplegics, Rett's, even autism, to communicate. We're also doing a lot of work in the ICU. We've recently pivoted a little bit and introduced a new application to help intubated patients during this COVID-19 times, to allow them to call their nurse, communicate their pain levels, and even connect with family remotely through a video connection, all with their eyes while they're bedridden. We're doing a lot in the research space. We have several partner plugins there that synchronize all the data streams. So you're not only capturing eye tracking, but you're also gathering emotion metrics on the facial features, tracking heart rate, skin temperature, and brainwave activities, and synchronizing all those data streams into one. And then I'll dive into some exciting cognitive and vision screening, which is the focus of this presentation. The work we're doing with Mayo Clinic, VA hospitals, others, clinicians who are wanting to get a window into their brain in a fast, non-invasive way. And we'll dive into the OCAT test, Ocular Cognitive Addition Test. But just to give you a little bit of context, this is one of our users here in the US. He's been using eye tracking. This is his 3rd generation EyeTech tracker. He has the EyeOn mounted on his wheelchair, and he's able to control all of his devices for his work. He runs 3D printers, CNC machines all through his device. He has cerebral palsy, and he even designed this feeding machine down here in the bottom right that allows him to be able to be more independent. And his company actually works with other individuals with disabilities to allow them to be more independent. So really an exciting and rewarding market that the EyeOn powers. So you can see he's actually controlling that CNC router, and this is all being done with our iMouse software on the 3D design program that he's running there. And he's able to get pinpoint accuracy, like I showed previously. He's hitting these little radial buttons, and even with his spasticity, with some involuntary head movement, he's able to pinpoint and select things without even having to zoom. And I can show you a live demo of how that works if you guys want after. Here's the EyeOn Life. It allows them to call their nurse, communicate their pain levels, and gives a voice to the voiceless. And that's been a really exciting area to help impact lives and help. Whoops, sorry about that. And then on the research side, a lot of clinicians are interested in synchronizing the data streams into one, creating an area of interest, analyzing how long they spent on that particular area, generating heat map or tracking. Just a second. Sorry, there was some background noise from that video. And then we have some great partner plugins that allow you to measure the emotion, the EEG, the heart rate, and the skin temperature to really complement and validate all those different inputs into one to strengthen your research and strengthen and help the clinicians make better decisions. So these are 4 of the most common plugins for the research market that synchronize the data streams into one. Acknowledge from Biopack. I know they have a presence in India, selling not only eye tracking for us, but also they have a special box that synchronizes all the data streams into one. So you can see the data streams here on the left. You know, we're tracking pupil dilation, XY gaze position, blink rates, the microsaccadic activity, and I'll get into that in just a minute. Mangold Vision out of Germany, iMotions out of Denmark, and they're big in the US, and then Captive Neurolab out of France. All these companies have chosen to integrate their app into our platform because of the high accuracy and reliability eye tracking we provide. So happy to answer any questions there. We also have built multi-screen solutions. So this is an example of a Homeland Security screening and training solution that we built. So there's a camera for each screen, and this is all running from a single computer. Because we do everything on the eye tracking chip inside the eye tracker, we can run multiple cameras from one computer. And this is about a 20-minute exercise that these baggage screeners go through, and we can track and measure their performance, were they paying attention, and many more metrics. So that covers kind of the 5 areas, medical areas that we're powering, and wanted to show some research. I know Dr. Utama, you asked before we started about autism research. Here's one example of some research setting some autistic kids in front of a screen and being able to present stimuli. It was more of a 2 different exercises, one that was static and one that was more interactive. And you can see here in the chart the interactive, where they were showing more interaction with the teacher on the screen. The engagement level went much higher, up to 80% versus below 50%. So really good research where you can, again, this was just eye tracking, but you could connect other sensors as well: heart rate, skin temperature, even EEG. We've done some exciting work with some East Coast universities where they connect a little head cap on even kids to analyze the brain activity as well. And the meat of my presentation that I want to dive into is how eye tracking can help clinicians and researchers better understand cognitive workload, vision. There's a lot of vision disorders that eye tracking can help not only screen, but also provide therapy to, whether it's at the clinic or send the EyeOn tablet home for therapy at home. The eyes are the window to the brain. You always hear that, and we believe that 100%. So the cognitive screening tool, this is just one example. We've licensed this app from Mayo Clinic. And let me give you a little bit of background here. Several years ago, NASA contracted Mayo Clinic to baseline screen the astronauts before they went to space. And the reason they wanted to do that was they wanted to understand the effects of hypoxia, the lack of oxygen that they get while they're up in space. How does that impact their cognition? How does that impact their vision? And so this was developed and patented by Mayo Clinic and was used internally for several years. And then they partnered with us to actually commercialize it, and we've licensed and are selling this. Takes less than 60 seconds to administer, gives you quantifiable data, as well as physical response to measure both impairment, concussion. We're doing some MCI patient studies right now with Mayo Clinic, a 300 patient study, to better understand how MCI impacts the Alzheimer's or Parkinson's in the future. Pharma companies that we're working with love this tool because it allows them to get a quick, non-invasive screen on a daily, weekly, monthly basis without users having to go into the clinic. So let me show you a quick demo of this. You'll see a number appears randomly on the screen. There's 27 numbers that appear, and they add them in sequences of 3. So I'm going to hit play and you'll see the numbers appear, and I'll just kind of pretend that I'm going through this. So 7 plus 4 is 11, plus 3 is 14. And you do that sequence 9 times. The last number is red, meaning you start the sequence of it adding over. And this is, of course, a built-in video. So the numbers are much larger, of course, when you're running it on the EyeOn. But it gives a cognitive workload function. It gives a visual response, both diagonal, vertical, and horizontal. And then we also are able to, after the test, provide the clinician or the researcher a nice visual and numeric score for their saccadic performance, both diagonal, horizontal, and vertical, their cognitive performance. And there's happy to send more information on this after the presentation. We're measuring ocular metrics such as pupil dynamics. Are the pupils dilating and changing rapidly? Is the patient blinking a lot because they're processing, the addition component? So then after that, there's a visual score, if you will, that gives you the scan path. So you can see different deviations between saccades. So here, the patient looked from this number to this number, but it wasn't a perfectly straight line. They kind of deviated a little bit. And so the 27 points are these marks here, and that shows the tighter the mark, the better or the less jitter of the eye or less jitter of the pupil there was. And so patients that we've done research work with the VA research or Mayo Clinic research or other institutions, you can see different biomarkers or trends for Parkinson's versus Alzheimer's and MCI versus dementia. So there's some exciting, really groundbreaking research being done here that will allow us over time, as this becomes more widely adopted with clinics all over the world, to understand this data, use AI and machine learning and leverage the data to better understand these trends. Because if we can get more predictive in helping understand before Alzheimer's and Parkinson's onsets, we can the pharma companies can improve their quality of life with the different drug deliveries that they can prescribe earlier on. Is really where the direction of this is going. We can also measure vision screening, so you can have a participant read something. This was actually for children, better understand dyslexia. But again, being able to understand what's going on inside the brain. The eyes are technically connected to the brain, so measuring those eye movements can really help us understand and improve learning outcomes as well. So I wanted to show you an example of this. So here you can see the gaze dot is playing back where the participant's reading. And in this study, they wanted to understand reading versus, and this is all being done in immersive reader, allows us to understand, the visual scan path and the cognition, the bigger the gaze dot. And then we're working with psychologists and other experts in dyslexia to better understand and get predictive as well. Again, these are all preclinical research tools. We're in the process of integrating with several other applications and taking those through the process for clinical validation so they can have billable CPT codes and things like that. But for now, these are great tools that clinicians can use to better understand the different pathologies that they're working with and understand the biomarkers. And as we work together to aggregate this data and make better use of this, this is really where the exciting part comes into play. And with that, I'll go ahead and end my slide and just show you a couple other things on the a live demo, and then I'll open it up for Q&A. So I'm going to close this and launch our iMouse tool, and this will allow us to run any Windows program, and then you can gather metrics as well. So here is our little avatar guy. We call him Seymour, pun intended. And I'm actually using a dwell click, so you can see it as I stare at it for a second, it'll click. I can pause eye gaze at any time. And this is how thousands of paralyzed individuals use this on a daily basis to be independent. But I'm going to go ahead and switch to a blink click and show you a live demo of a tool more geared for kids called Look to Learn. And this will allow you to gather some data as well in this tool by measuring, the cursor position. So let me do. So I'm actually selecting these. I'm going to do a video wall, and you can display, any video you want. So as the kids look at the videos, it interacts with them, and you can minimize the cursor at any, hide the cursor, but just so you can see, the accuracy, how quickly it responds. And then I'm going to close that, and then it will allow you in just a few seconds to analyze the cursor position on those videos. And you can change the videos to whatever you want. So imagine you're doing some research with a kiddo with autism. You could have some different learning video quickly. There's also, I had to move my location, but we're doing some exciting work, 3D glasses as well. I left them. So I'm going to go ahead and launch quick test again and show video. So you can see, even with glasses, it tracks fine. I can go through the calibration process and different applications that we're currently launching on the EyeOn that have the depth perception component built into the app. Once you put these glasses on, you can provide a new set of glasses to every patient when they come in or when they're doing this at home, and you can analyze the depth perception. So that's another great component, especially when you're doing work with autism or dyslexia. And the benefit of the EyeOn tablet, like you see here, is unlike AR and VR goggles, which are very enclosing and not natural. This is a very natural environment, so you can do it without glasses, or if you want to analyze in your app the depth, you can just provide a new set of glasses for each patient, and that will allow you to get some really good data for measuring the depth perception with your patients as well. So some exciting work. We're onboarding some exciting applications there, and just wanted to share that with you. But overall, in summary, EyeTech is very focused on bringing highly accurate eye tracking for medical applications. And let's see, let me close this. There we go. I think it's not letting me whip, but with that, I'll go ahead and open it up to any questions and answers, and go from there.
Very exciting talk, Keith. Thank you for a wonderful presentation.
You're welcome.
Right, I was really excited to see each and every slide. It's awesome, awesome. So many applications you have given. Very exciting, very exciting. And thank you so much, Mr. Keith. It was a pleasure listening to you and very insightful. I think so. It was really good, and we look forward in working with your eye tracker. Maybe in near future, we'll be communicating with you.
Sounds great. I really appreciate the invite and great questions asked. Look forward to collaborating with your universities there, with your institutions, and helping impact lives for the better. That's what EyeTech is all about, and we're excited to hopefully. I've never actually been to India before, so I'd love to have a reason to go over there in the future.
Yes, come to Gujarat.
Sounds great.